So, how y'all doing? So listen, can I tell y'all something? Sometimes the scale stops moving, y'all, but your health, it may still be improving. Ask me how I know.
Welcome to Kim J's Sweet Healthy Life.
If you're managing type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, or using a GLP-1 like Mounjaro, that distinction matters more than you may realize, okay? Because the goal isn't just losing weight, or it shouldn't be anyway. The goal is reclaiming our health. I'm on a better health journey, y'all. So I want to encourage you all today. So let me tell you a little bit about my story. On July 3rd of 2024, I found out I had type 2 diabetes. My A1C at that time was a 15.1. Yes, 15.1 is dangerously high, right? My fasting blood sugars were in the 400s. That's high. Very, very high. So I ended up in the hospital for 2 days because my blood sugars was so high. My doctors were able to get the blood sugars down enough to send me home. I went home with fast acting insulin, long acting insulin, and then shortly after, I started my Mounjaro Better Health weight loss journey on the 2.5 milligram dose. I asked for that medication of Mounjaro because I knew it was a medication that could help me lower as well as manage my A1C. And then not only that, it was a tool that could help someone lose weight, right? When I went to my endocrinologist for the first time, July 30th, my A1C had already gone down 3 points. Yes, from a 15 to a 12. So I had prayed about it, right? After I got out of the hospital, I followed, a treatment plan. I decided to, start a very, very low carb lifestyle. Okay. Something I could never do in the past. So I knew God was in it with me. I asked him to be the center of this journey, and he did just that. Going 3 points down in 3 weeks, that was amazing, y'all. Yes. My doctor came running out in the lobby to let me know after she had checked my A1C in the office and was like, hey, do not leave. I want to let you know that your A1C now is a 12. Keep doing everything you're doing, right? So, of course, we were all excited about it. My family was excited about it. The day after, she had me go to an endocrinologist for the first time because the endocrinologist can help me better manage my A1C, right? And my blood sugars. So I decided to go, right? When I did, I found out at that appointment that I was at 253 pounds. I also got a call from my pharmacy to tell me to come and get my Mounjaro medication. Right after that appointment, I drove up to my pharmacy and picked that medication up. That same night, I started my Mounjaro weight loss journey. Yes. All right. So a month later, I moved up to the 5 milligram because at that point, we were having shortages of the GLP-1 medications. So I told the pharmacy, yes, go ahead and push me up to the 5 milligrams. That's fine. And so I started on the 5 milligram, still taking my fast acting and my slow acting insulin, as well as still on my very low carb diet, getting my hydration in. I had started walking, to get some steps in and everything, deliberately walking. Yes. So my numbers were improving very well still, and my A1C dropped to the 8s. Yes, by September of 2024, I was in the 8 range. Okay. That's awesome. I remained on the 5 milligram for several months and eventually was able to come off insulin completely by mid-September when I revisited my endocrinologist. He thought I was going to be on it for at least a year, if not longer, right? Or it could have been a lifetime. But because I was doing everything I was supposed to do, lifestyle changes, as well as taking my diabetic medication, it all worked itself out, right? I knew God was in it again because my A1C was dropping left and right. My blood sugars doing very well. If you have diabetes type 2, then your fasting sugars could be anywhere between 70 and 126 is what I was told, okay, by my doctors. And so low blood sugars is anything under 70 milligrams per deciliter. So I remained on the 5 milligram for several months, and eventually I was able to come off of insulin completely, and I transitioned to Jardiance and the Mounjaro 5 milligram dose. At that time, my doctor wanted me to actually go up to 7.5. He didn't know if Jardiance was going to be good enough to keep my blood sugars where it's supposed to be, because insulin is a more powerful medication than Jardiance. Jardiance is a pill form. It doesn't work like me injecting myself with insulin. But then the unexpected happened. Instead of only dealing with high blood sugars, I still started experiencing low blood sugars. So I had to do something about it, right? Because of the lows, I was taken off of Jardiance, and I was eventually moved to Mounjaro 7.5 milligram dose. By January 2025, I had got my blood work rechecked, my A1C as well as my blood glucose levels, before I went back to the endocrinologist appointment mid-January. My A1C, y'all, had dropped to 5.6, which is back in the normal range. That's 5 months. My A1C went from a dangerous level to back in the normal range. Yes, I was so excited. Yes. My blood pressure had normalized too. Now, I had blood pressure years before I found out I had type 2 diabetes. I had also developed kidney disease years after knowing that I had uncontrollable high blood sugars. So having those two comorbidities already, I ended up in 2024 finding out that I had the diabetes. 3 comorbidities as well as obesity, morbidly obese at that. They were things that could not be cured per the doctors, per the scientists, per the powers to be. I could reverse them. I could go in remission. But from what they say, quote unquote, never cured, because it can always go back the wrong way. So I felt so good. I was losing over 2 pounds per week. The A1C back in normal range. The blood pressures back in normal range. So of course I was celebrating, right? These were huge victories. So in about 5 months, my body had gone from crisis mode to stability. And by July 2025, honey, I had lost 76 pounds, right? Thank you, Lord, for that. But then the journey shifted again. I began experiencing blood sugars in the 50s. I had experienced it before between January and July. But then I experienced it again closer to the July mark. So I talked to my doctor again. I was like, listen, I'm still having these blood sugar lows, and I'm only on Mounjaro now. So what do we need to do about it? 50s are not just lower, they're actually low. So I titrated back down to the 5 milligram dose mid-September of 2025. And when I did, inflammation came back with a vengeance, y'all. I increased my carbs to help reduce the lows. The scale became inconsistent. I was on a whole roller coaster, up and down in weight. I would lose, and then I would gain. Then I would lose, then I would gain some more. Eventually, I found myself back in the 190s. And now, here's where many people would say, something stopped working. You're failing. You're in a plateau. But what if that's not the whole story, y'all? Because while my weight loss slowed dramatically, my blood work continued improving. My A1C stayed healthy. My blood pressure remained healthy. My doctors were very pleased with my progress. So I had to ask myself, what exactly am I measuring? Am I chasing weight loss, or am I pursuing health? In March 2026, my endocrinologist allowed me to move back to 7.5 milligram dose to help address inflammation and to support continued progress, right? Today, I'm still focusing on high protein, high fiber, strength training, walking, cardio, hydration, stress management. I'm trying to figure out a way to better sleep. I'm working on balancing my hormones. And yes, I'm still occasionally dealing with some low blood sugars. But I've learned something important. Not every season of health produces dramatic weight loss. Sometimes the assignment is stabilization. Sometimes the assignment is healing. Sometimes the assignment is learning how to maintain the progress you've already fought so hard to achieve. So the transformation here. The scale isn't telling the entire story, y'all. In 2024, my blood pressures were in the 400s, y'all. Today, my A1C is normal. My blood pressure is normal. My habits are stronger. I have built disciplines, y'all. Something that seemed like would never occur before I started my better health journey. My knowledge is deeper. My discipline is greater. Y'all, that's progress. So if you're doing the work and the scale has gotten quiet, don't assume your body isn't responding. Ask yourself, what victories am I overlooking because they don't show up on the scale? Ponder that. Health isn't only measured in pounds lost. Sometimes health is your body saying, thank you for finally taking care of me. And if you're on a journey to reclaim your health, not just chase numbers on the scale, subscribe and join the Sweet Life Squad. Around here, we're building healthier lives, one decision at a time. And we are encouraging each other to continue to push forward, using consistencies to create better habits, becoming the better him or her, one moment at a time. Yes, yes, yes. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'll be looking forward to talking to you in the comment section. And if you know someone that may be interested in my story that is dealing with these type comorbidities and a weight stall or weight plateau, I so appreciate you. Please share my channel out, and hopefully they'll come over because I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. All right. Peace out, and I'll talk to you all soon.